Yesterday we talked about relationships, tantric relationships, non-tantric relationships. What about the sexuality in relationship? How can that help the couple grow or not grow or evolve from a tantric perspective?
Good subject. Long subject also. And it's a good point to say that how they can grow or that they can fall down the drain. And it is important, I think, to define what we look for through sex. What we look for when we plug two bodies together, which means also two energies together. And you have a lot of chance that it goes down the drain. So meaning like we kind of say like leaking out energy, or as you go is a bit all over the place and staying on a very low level of dimension of attraction, dimension of hormones playing together, dimension of just satisfying body pleasure, momentary pleasure, also a little bit emotional, but mostly I would say, to put it plain, and it's a bit harsh to say it, like using each other. And using each other to satisfy some different pleasure. And this is one of the main danger. When you have one man, woman coming together, at first they come because they had a spark, a little spark of their heart, when they felt, oh, there is something possible, something, a depth that is possible. And from that depth, that little spark, is sure there is also the bodies that comes with all the hormones and the attraction coming together. And you would think, if you blend this, you come up with something beautiful, true and not true. So not true in the sense that slowly the energy that finally came up in the heart, it can slowly go down, 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 down. And this, you see it many times in couples, that they have a glow in the beginning, where there is nice flow coming together, and the glow is slowly disappearing. And it's disappearing where the energy stays just on the body level. So the depth also of lovemaking becomes very low to want where it disappear. And then it's just two bodies getting in a friction together, having a little pleasure for a moment, and that's it. So in Tantra, what we would like to use the situation, this capacity of heart and bodies coming together. Possibility of using, I don't like so much the word using, but I don't have one now, but okay, let's put it this way. The meeting into sex, the meeting of the bodies, to open up the life energy there and see, can it expand instead that it gets more and more narrow and then it gets dissipated. So we have to look then, how does it circulate? And there start, I would say, the beautiful field of Tantra that has been looking at a clear path of the energy between one man and a woman, or between just in one body, how you can uplift this life energy to another realm. And this is very, I would say, magical. The play of polarity, we're going to look now in lovemaking. And you have polarity in the sex and you have polarity in the heart, which allow an energy to circulate. It's the magic of dualities. Instead that you make this polarity fight and conflict with each other, let's see how they actually complement. So there is paths of energy that allows, you can use breathing, there is visualization, there are many different ways. I will not develop too far there. Just I like to describe the possibilities of uplifting and circulating energy, meaning possibility of sharing not just body level energy, but also including this dimension of the heart in it, which goes through certain paths. So there is a map somewhere where you channel the energy there. It asks sweet intimacy. It asks that the couple is willing to pull down what I was describing already yesterday, pull down the shield of separation, of protection. You can't manage otherwise. The glimpse most of the time couples they have in the beginning is that glimpse that, oh, for a moment there is not this separation, and which makes the lovemaking very deep, very, such a melting process, and take it out for a moment of just the dimension of sexuality. Then suddenly there is this nice dimension in the body, and yet there is a plus. The plus is the meet on that dimension of the heart. So you can say you have love and sex together. For me, it's a bit tricky to put it this way, but to make it simple and understandable. So this is the capacity, the potential you can have in a couple is rarely explored, because there is not really education in some way. There is no education on how to move energies. And this is what Tantra offered in amazing, simple ways to understanding how it functions in the body, how you bring the breathing into it, how you bring certain movements in it, and most of it, like I just described, is that you slowly crumble down this separation system, playing with the polarities, understanding there are polarities with the bodies that we definitely need to play with in lovemaking. Not just lovemaking, but let's say now we speak this one. And if you have a little map, a little education in how to play with this, and you have a completely different depths in sexuality.
I would like to also back up a little bit because you always talk about energy, and it's a big topic, but for many people who just start the path, they don't even have an understanding of what is energy and how to even start feeling it, how to change the perception from physicality to energy dimension.
Yeah. At first, what I do with people is not even start to feel energies and things like that. Can they just start feeling their body? And this body, anyway, it's concentration of energy. So if you start falling back towards the body, sensing fully the body, this is energy in more condensed. The more condensed, the more you can see it material. No? So first is this. Can you get back sensing the body? So the way we use a lot the senses. It's all about entering the body. If you enter the body, you enter a field of energy. And slowly, by being more and more subtle, by being more calm, being more perceptive, it becomes very obvious. It's not such a huge, big thing that some they tend to picture it like, wow, energy. First body, to realize this body of matter, it's energy. So when you start having more and more this perception, then we start looking more into depth, meaning start looking, it has actually some movements. It has a certain way to circulate. So that's already a different depth. You're going to see, wow, I can even move it with my intention, or with the breathing, or with the movement. So we need to look at those steps first. This is why, for me, at the start, I even never speak about energy. I speak about body. It's these steps. And once you start catching this dimension of, it's like, sometimes I like this picture, it's solid and liquid at the same time, and you feel like, what is this? So you sense this very clearly, this matter things, and you see, but there is a little buzzing, more than just these two things at the same time. And if you refine your sensation, you get more and more subtle with this. It's very clear that there is this body and this buzzing. What is this buzzing? From where it starts? From where it starts shining? Can it move? So there we move in another depth that Tantra has developed a full map of this, where this buzzing is moving. And they have developed pictures, symbols, which I try not to use too much. It's a language, I would say, I don't think it fits very much with the state of mind we have now. We have to use maybe different symbols or pictures. But anyhow, this is why I speak about the buzzing. I don't speak about Kundalini and this sensation like this. And looking in this map, how we can uplift, circulate, move, and if it's in relation directly with a couple, because it's where we started, how does it circulate? How do I share this? I get received. I give. What is this movement? In which bubble or cocoon you end up in that? So it takes some time, though I would say it doesn't take years. It takes most of it. It takes a sensitivity. It takes to be a bit more subtle, to be willing to feel a bit deeper, and it's there very quickly. And then applying different methods, applying a little map to see how we're gonna navigate all this is simpler than what we think at the start, which looks like very complex, especially if you've been looking at all the chakra and this with all this name. I bring it down, shut it down, simple, very accessible.
So to make it very practical and very simple, let's say a couple have been having sex in a freak show, as you call it, and next evening they want to try something else. What would you say? They have an openness to try.
They have an openness to try.
What could they do? The first night
first night. What would they do? They would synchronize at first their breathing. And that's the first thing I look. Can you synchronize, meet with your breath? Start to understand the flow of the breath, which is very close to energy flow. Start directing the first approach. It sounds there is a phenomenon that breathe out and then breathe in. And let's see, can together go in that wave together before engaging in all kind of move. First this, for a moment, sensing that already there is a sweet exchange this way. And there I would say, move like you move. I would not start imposing this way, but I would start to implement this connection. Can you keep connecting on the breath? And it does a miracle. A lot of things start slowing down. Because when you start having this flow, there is sometimes there is a tenderness or a sweetness coming, which is much more close to the heart when you engage the breathing. It's something coming more here, and you can have the whole wildness of the bodies, but it changes rhythm. So with the breath, what we start to look is in a different rhythm, a different pulsation. And from that pulsation, interestingly enough, it changes the way you can engage with the genitals. You can't move the same way. You bring a new sensitivity into the picture. So I'm always in favor not start to change the whole way you move into sex, not start to impose something. You're going to manipulate something that it doesn't work. In that setting, how you move, start bringing something new. And the something new at first is the sensitivity on the breath, which connects, which keeps you in the same rhythm. It's one, and there are many different ways, but let's say this one is the most simple and the most easy to understand, most accessible. And from there, sure, we can bring many, many different things. And at first, I will not even bring the whole thing of chakras. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. From the breath, when I say there is breathing out, breathing in, and you start also bringing understanding. There is receiving, there is giving. Can the couple start feeling this? What's the receiving fully? What's the giving? What's this dance? Who give? Who receive? So we start getting more and more close, looking more close by what's the dynamic of the bodies and what's the dynamic of the polarities. And just this at the start, it's truly amazing. So, for the first so-called tantric date, apply just this simple thing.
Okay, and what would be the second step? The second date or second month after breathing together?
Yeah.
Because it's quite often easy to find the beginning of where you can go, and then the more you try, the more deeper you want to go. I think there is less teaching of how to continue.
We would like, after, you have to look not only in the love-making setting. We have to apply the same thing that I said. You need to apply it in daily life. Love-making is not just in the bedroom. And this move of giving, within this sweet flow, let's expand it in every meeting, in every actions, so that you have a constant circulation in the couple, which has a beautiful harmony. So you also have this depth constantly expanding. So when you go back in your bedroom or whatever setting you want for your lovemaking, there is already quite openness. There is already quite an expansion. So you're less hungry. We have here a little trouble because the couple in their daily life, they don't meet. So they get hungry. They're constantly hungry, they're constantly needy. There's something always missing on a body level. So let's say they started in their breathing bubble. They need to extend it in daily life. So in the next flow back into lovemaking, there is not this hungry. You start from fulfillment. You're already fulfilled, so you have something to share. And this might take some experience, some time to get there. How you keep your meeting, your daily life with your lover in this bubble of meeting. So, meaning, in daily life, you can bring back the wall of separation. You don't bring back the defense mechanism. So you have energy, you have flow, and if you prefer that, we will not call it even energy anymore. You have a breath that flows in, out to each other, that nourish each other. Then when you move in your lovemaking, it's already there. There is already fulfillment. You have less this hunger of something, I need to fill up something. And so you start already from a quite different level. You start already from a space of the heart, less from a space of being hungry even on a physical level. So it means also in your daily life, it's much more cuddle, much more sweetness, much more holding. All these things, they are little lovemaking in a way.
Like morning hugs and evening hugs.
For example, let's say whole day hugs. I see that you have this sweet flow all the time, that fulfilled even some just body needs, that is to say, that keeps the whole system relaxed and fulfilled. We eat food to take care of this physical body. All the touch, the little sweet cuddle, but even the looking, everything coming via the senses, that you aware you really there, you really look, you offer also something, you receive the other constantly, you also give. All those things, they nourish the body. They also nourish the heart at the same time, and nourish a sweet feeling, and nourish beautiful emotions with each other. Very important. So you keep a nice bubble like this. So then when you engage bringing more the sex dimension into it, like I say, you start from already a more higher point. And from that higher point, you can enter much deeper in the body, but especially much deeper in the field of the heart, in the field of consciousness. So you use this dance of lovemaking for a completely different purpose. Not just purpose of body satisfaction, body pleasure. It will be there, and it will be even more refined, but not just this. You're going to start using all the sensation, all the pleasure to enter deeper. To me, what I say, enter consciousness. Maybe for some is a bit too far. So better I say under the heart is more reachable, I think, for understanding. And if you can do this with a lover, it's quite beautiful. And with a lover, you also learn at the same time to do it on your own. There is a moment you realize that actually it circulates also by yourself. But let's keep it now in the context with a lover. And what the beauty also with a lover that I find it's extremely interesting, you have double energy. Because alone, very important, I always emphasize, please start alone. Get to know your body, get to know your energy. But with a lover, you have double energy. I give mine to you, I share, I receive yours. I would say it's like it's a very funny example. It's like making a fire with one piece of wood or with two. So you have such a potential. So this fire, this strong energy, it's like a rocket to enter deeper in the heart. It needs quite some energy to enter deep inside. I would say it needs, instead of using all kind of nice traditional symbol, airplane to take off, instead of a snake and kundalini, blah, blah, blah. Airplane to take off, it's quite some gasoline. Important we develop that alone, insist there, but with a partner, you have the double gasoline to take off the plane, especially when you know clearly the dynamic of the polarity, where to give, where to receive. You make this move very strongly. Wow, you can fly high, very high.
You mentioned a couple of times this wall in between the couples of defense. Sometimes it falls by itself and you by accident and you realize, wow, it was there. But quite often it's difficult to even feel that there is. It's so part of the personality. First of all, how to become aware, and then practically, let's say I feel there is a wall, but I don't know how to do it, how to take it down. What would be the step to take it down?
At first, how to become aware. I guess when you are fed up to suffer, you start becoming aware that there is something weird into the system. So I mainly see most of the time is when you start getting aware of suffering. When you get aware of suffering, you start looking. And if you still enjoy suffering, it's fine. But for most, it's like this. There's this moment, it's enough. Enough of generating suffering for yourself, generating suffering for others, and trying to understand how come, what is this about? And once you start getting aware, very soon you will see, the defense, the attack, because it works together, and this whole system. So there's different ways. I will see this between 3 steps. One, you get aware when the disaster has been done. You've been yelling at your boyfriend or your girlfriend, you've been breaking the dishes, and it's like, so you get aware at the end of the action. You sit down, you go back to your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and you soften, and say, sorry, I will not do it again, but you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again. But by and by, your awareness is going to start to shift. You have understood already that the game is enough. It's not okay anymore. And so you are willing. But before you bring awareness in the right spot, it's going to first be at the end of the action. Then it's going to be in the middle. You have the plate that you're ready to smash on the ground. Like, I stop. Or you're ready to say something really nasty, and you stop in the middle. You have a moment like, then you give up the fight. Also then you're going to say, so we're going to cut down. I will not do it again, and you will do it again. For some time. But your awareness is going to build up. Next level, you're going to have the awareness before it starts, or just at the trigger. Night's coming, and you're going to breathe. It's like with the breathing. You're going to breathe and let it go. So you're going to be aware, if it's to bring it in a picture of a physical, that it's something raw that goes like, building up a wall. You're going to be aware when you start picking up that mechanism. This is why I said the plate. You get aware, now I'm going to get this. And no, you don't involve in that strategy anymore. You can keep yourself back and start something completely different, which is stay receptive. Don't close down. Nothing to defend, nothing to attack. Stay receptive to most of the time, when it is about couple, to a different point of view. I see that most of the time what gets generated in fight, in protecting, defending, we have a very simple dynamic. You want to be right, I want to be right, and I'm sure I'm right, and you're sure you're right. And both, they're going to start imposing their rightness without actually listening and without opening to a different point of view. So, and this is to me extremely essential. Keeping the receptivity for a different point of view. From there, respecting fully the freedom of the other. That's a delicate one, especially if the freedom has no responsibility, but let's not go too far there. So let's make it that you have two persons that are responsible and that look what they do with their freedom. And from there, having a capacity to stay receptive from different points of view. Now we're sitting together. You absolutely don't see what I see. Even the whole background is different. You have a completely different point of view. We are in the same situation. We obviously in the same room, it is true. But we have a completely different point of view. We don't have the same experience right now. You could say, oh yeah, sure, we engage in a discussion. But no. So you have different point of view, experience in this situation. And what I see many times in couples, they tend to impose and they don't listen where you are now, what's your experience, how you feel, your whole experience. And they impose and they conquer and they invade and they fight and a whole system. So basically they don't meet. So building up awareness on all this level I share will accelerate a lot if there is this willingness to stay open, to stay receptive. What I share somewhere the other day about listening, the receptivity to each other, complete receptivity, even if you're sitting there and you don't understand nothing, and you should have, what is this? And start to breathe and don't pick up immediately the side that is going to argument instead of understanding. Can I sit there? You come back from somewhere where you flirt with somebody, I don't even say you had sex with somebody, you flirt with somebody, you come back to me, you share this. Okay, a very simple reaction, basic. You're going to have a fire of jealousy and it's going to go all over the place. You hurt, you this, all those kind of play. Now, can I just sit? It might be not super easy to open to completely receive your experience, receive your point of view without that there's a whole argumentation inside my system. But still, can I stay just calm with that and see, can it come in? And wait, not immediately going like, saying, wait, can it take place? And sometimes really require time to take place. Opening the mind. The mind is not a narrow box. It's vast. It's huge. And if we keep our mind narrowed in our little conditioning and ideas, especially ideas, because now we speak in couple, of what couple should be not, and blah, blah, blah. If the partner comes with something that is out of this box, the war is starting. I'm gonna impose my box on you, my point of view. You should meet this box and you should fit in it. So it is fine. It is the situation. We all have to learn. So it's not about condemning anything. So when we are in this situation, we start building, like I said, the awareness. If it comes at the end of the action, at least it has come. So let's bring it in the middle and let's begin in the beginning. And there is a moment, it's even before the beginning. You can see it coming from far, and there is a moment, there is no hook anymore on you. The defense mechanism cannot hook you anymore. It just has come down, and it needs to be developed. It's a constant. Now, awareness is constant play. It's not just I go on a cushion and I meditate and I'm done, and after I can do all kind of silly thing. You need to see that you keep it close by and give it energy. So, for example, now in the situation I mentioned, the wall starting up, why I would give energy there more than to my awareness, more than to my receptivity. So after you start looking, I do have joys, where I involve my energy. Do I want to involve it still in separating, still in fighting, argumenting, defending, protecting the whole system? Or I start to shift it by and by. It needs some little courage in the beginning, but I think most it needs that you have come extremely tired of suffering. That you have come to the point to realize that, wow, this is not the way to live life. You have come to a point where, okay, you're tired of that, and maybe also that you have got some glimpses that, this life could be just amazing celebration, actually. So there you start having different chores. You start involving your energy somewhere else. Or involving, or I would say channeling your energy in a different way. That's why for me, I always look like never a victim. Never, never, never. Nobody. In your own field, in your own system, you're not a victim. It appears a lot like that in the beginning because it's so mechanical and so fast that you don't see it coming. It's the screaming, as you know, to the boyfriend, the girlfriend has gone so fast. It's like you even surprise yourself. Oh, this really came out of my mouth. Yeah, it did, and you did have a choice. But before coming to that choice, you need to get aware of the mechanical. What is mechanical inside of me? And how do I participate with that mechanical side? And it's a simple work. It's a simple work. Even if it appears to be a big mountain in the beginning. It's very simple. First going back, getting back to the body, getting back sensitive. You build very quickly awareness.